Most people start a survival garden to save a few dollars on grocery bills. They plant some lettuce, a few tomatoes, and maybe some radishes. At the end of the season, they have saved exactly $50. That is not survival. That is a hobby. If you want true financial sovereignty, you have to stop looking at your backyard as a grocery store and start looking at it as an agricultural manufacturing plant. You have a finite amount of square footage, and every single inch of dirt needs to be generating maximum cash value. Before we break down the exact mathematical blueprint to turn a tiny backyard into a $2,000 cash engine, I want to give a massive shout out to one of our subscribers down in the comments, Fabio, who asked about building zero-plastic, non-toxic garden systems. Fabio, this video is exactly for you. We are not just growing clean food, we are going to grow premium, high-value organic assets that people will happily pay top dollar for. Today, we are completely abandoning the amateur crops. I am going to introduce you to the dollar per square foot matrix. I am going to give you the exact mechanical list of high-value cash crops you need to plant right now to turn your dead grass into $2,000 of untaxed, off-grid value. Welcome back to the channel. Let's build your cash engine. To turn dirt into money, you have to ruthlessly eliminate low-value crops. If you plant a row of green cabbage, that plant will take up 4 square feet of your garden. It will sit in the dirt, drinking your water and eating your fertilizer for 90 straight days. At the end of those 3 months, you harvest one single head of cabbage that is worth exactly $2 at the local supermarket. You just spent 90 days and 4 square feet of real estate to generate 50 cents a month. You are operating at a massive financial loss. To build a $2,000 yard, every single crop you put in the ground must pass a strict financial test. It must either yield a massive, dense amount of weight in a tiny space, or it must be a premium, rare culinary asset that local chefs and farmers market buyers cannot find at a commercial grocery store. We do not grow water weight, we grow concentrated value. Let's break down the exact cash crops you are going to plant this season to hit that $2,000 threshold. The ultimate foundational cash crop for any small-scale survivalist is gourmet hardneck garlic. If you go to a standard grocery store, you will only find cheap, chemically treated softneck garlic imported from overseas. It has zero flavor and zero culinary value. But true, organic, locally grown hardneck garlic is a premium asset. It has a massive, complex flavor profile, and it produces a secondary crop called a garlicscape that high-end restaurants will buy in bulk. Here's the exact mathematical cheat code for garlic. It is a biological multiplier. You do not plant garlic from seeds, you plant it from cloves. In the late fall, you buy 1 single pound of premium organic hardneck seed garlic. That 1 pound contains roughly 50 individual cloves. You take those 50 cloves and you push them into the dirt, exactly 6 inches apart. Because the footprint is so tiny, you can fit an incredible amount of garlic into a standard 4x8 raised garden bed. Those cloves sit dormant under the snow all winter, establishing massive root systems. When the spring hits, they explode out of the ground. By midsummer, every single one of those 50 individual cloves has biologically multiplied into an entire, massive bulb of premium garlic. You turned 1 pound of raw material into 10 pounds of high-value inventory. At a local farmer's market, organic hardneck garlic consistently sells for $15 to $20 a pound. If you dedicate just 2 raised garden beds to this biological multiplier, you are pulling hundreds of dollars out of the dirt for absolutely zero ongoing maintenance. The garlic does not need pruning, it does not need trellising, it naturally repels pests. You plant it, you walk away, and you harvest the cash. Cash crop number 2, the Microgreen Fast Cash Loop. Garlic is your long-term wealth preserver, but a survival economy requires immediate cash flow. You cannot wait 9 months to pay your bills. You need a biological system that turns raw materials into profit in exactly 14 days. Enter the Microgreen Fast Cash Loop. Most backyard gardeners completely ignore microgreens because they think they are just fancy garnishes for expensive restaurants. That is a critical financial error. Microgreens are the single highest dollar per square foot crop on planet Earth. Biologically, a microgreen is simply the seedling of a standard vegetable, like a radish, sunflower, or broccoli, harvested at the exact moment it produces its first two true leaves. Because the plant is harvested at its biological peak, all of the cellular energy, vitamins, and intense flavor are hyper-concentrated into a tiny 2-inch stem. Here's the mechanical cheat code. You do not grow microgreens in the deep dirt of your raised beds. You grow them vertically in shallow 1-inch trays. You take a standard 20/20 nursery tray, fill it with a thin layer of fine organic compost, and densely broadcast your seeds across the surface. You stack these trays on a cheap metal wire rack on your back patio or in a spare room. By stacking them vertically, you turn 4 square feet of floor space into 20 square feet of highly productive agricultural real estate. Within 7 to 14 days, that tray erupts into a dense forest of greens. The financial math is staggering. A single 10/20 tray costs about $2 in seed and dirt to produce. You harvest that tray, package the greens into small clamshells, and sell them at the farmer's market or directly to local chefs for $20 to $30 per tray. You are literally printing a 1,000% profit margin every 2 weeks in a footprint the size of a doormat. You harvest, you reseed, and the fast cash loop never stops. The perishability trap. If you only grow fresh vegetables and microgreens, you are fighting a ticking clock. The moment you pull a radish out of the ground or cut a tray of greens, the biological countdown begins. Within 7 days, that crop will rot. If it rains on farmer's market day and you cannot sell your inventory, your cash crops turn into compost. You lose everything. To build a true $2,000 survival yard, a massive percentage of your real estate must be dedicated to non-perishable assets. You need crops that hold their financial value for months or even years without refrigeration. You achieve this by abandoning standard vegetables and planting the survival apothecary. Cash crop number 3, high-value medicinal herbs. We are not talking about cheap culinary herbs like parsley or cilantro. Those wilt in 3 days. We are talking about high-value medicinal perennials, calendula, echinacea, lemon balm, and yarrow. These plants are biological tanks. They thrive in poor soil, they require almost zero water, and they aggressively multiply every single year. But their true financial power lies in the preservation of wealth. When you harvest medicinal herbs, you do not sell them fresh, you execute the drying multiplier. You cut the stems, tie them in bundles, and hang them upside down in a dark, dry room for 2 weeks. The moisture evaporates, but the potent essential oils and medicinal compounds are permanently locked into the cellular structure of the leaves and flowers. You have just transformed a perishable plant into a non-perishable commodity. The profit margin on dried medicinals is astronomical. Health-conscious buyers, local apothecaries, and online survivalists will gladly pay $15 to $20 for a tiny 2-ounce glass jar of pure, organically grown, dried calendula flowers to make healing salves. You can harvest these herbs in July, dry them, put them in a sealed jar, and sell them for maximum profit in December when the ground is frozen solid and nobody else has inventory. You are no longer a farmer subject to the weather. You are a manufacturer of premium biological goods. The Z-axis, vertical space multipliers. If you look at a traditional garden, you are only looking at the X and Y axes. You are looking at flat dirt. When you only plant horizontally, you run out of agricultural real estate immediately. To build a $2,000 yard, you must conquer the Z-axis. You must build upward. We already established that your microgreens are growing on vertical metal wire racks on your patio, but you must apply this exact same vertical mathematics to your medicinal herbs. Do not plant sprawling herbs like lemon balm or trailing medicinals in your prime flat raised beds. That flat space is reserved exclusively for your heavy root crops like your hardneck garlic. Instead, you deploy the vertical apothecary. You construct or buy cheap vertical PVC towers, stackable planters, or hanging felt wall pockets, and you mount them directly to your sterile wooden backyard fence. Fences are completely wasted vertical space. By mounting your medicinal herbs to the fence, you turn a dead piece of wood into a living, cash-producing wall. The herbs thrive because they have massive airflow, which prevents powdery mildew from ruining your harvest. And more importantly, you just freed up 100% of your flat ground soil for your primary cash crops. You literally doubled your square footage without buying a single inch of new land. The root zone stacking matrix. Now that the fence is producing cash, we have to maximize the flat raised beds. This is where we execute the root zone stacking matrix. The biggest mistake amateur gardeners make is planting one crop per bed. If you have a 4x8 bed of garlic, the top 6 inches of the soil are completely empty while the garlic bulbs swell deep underground. That empty topsoil is a financial leak. The sun is hitting it, water is evaporating from it, and weeds are trying to steal nutrients from it. You must plug the leak. You do this by interplanting shallow-rooted cash crops directly over the deep-rooted garlic. While the garlic is pulling heavy minerals from 10 inches deep, you densely broadcast a fast-growing, shallow-rooted cash crop like premium organic radishes or specialized bush beans directly on the surface between the garlic stalks.
Because their root systems operate at completely different depths, they do not compete. The shallow crop acts as a living biological mulch. Its leaves shade the soil, locking in the moisture so you don't have to waste money on the water bill. You are pulling 2 completely different cash harvests out of the exact same square foot of dirt at the exact same time. The Zero Weed Density Protocol. Time is your most expensive asset. If you spend 3 hours every Saturday pulling weeds out of your garden, you are destroying your hourly profit margin. Weeds only grow where the sun touches bare dirt. In a $2,000 yard, there is absolutely zero bare dirt. When you execute the root zone stacking matrix and combine it with intense high-density planting, you create a biological canopy. The leaves of your premium cash crops interlock like puzzle pieces, completely blocking the sun from ever hitting the topsoil. Without sunlight, weed seeds physically cannot germinate. You are not using toxic chemical herbicides. You are not breaking your back with a hoe. You are using the mechanical density of your own cash crops to completely choke out the competition. Your entire system becomes a self-watering, self-weeding, high-profit jungle. You spend 0 hours on maintenance and 100% of your time harvesting, drying, and packaging your assets for sale. The sales funnel. How to get paid. You have executed the Microgreen loop. You have multiplied your hardneck garlic. You have dried your medicinal herbs. You have thousands of dollars of premium biological inventory sitting in your house. But if you just set up a cheap folding table in your driveway, you will make $0. To run a $2,000 yard, you must operate like a professional agricultural supplier. You have 3 highly targeted sales funnels that bypass the general public entirely. Funnel number 1, the direct-to-chef pipeline. Independent, high-end restaurants do not want generic, wilted produce from massive commercial trucks. They want hyper-local, insanely fresh ingredients. You walk into the back door of a local restaurant at 2 p.m. before the dinner rush. You hand the head chef a free, pristine tray of your purple radish microgreens and a bundle of your fresh garlic scapes. When they taste the explosive, concentrated flavor, you become their exclusive supplier. They will hand you cash every single week for a continuous supply of your fast cash loop. Funnel number 2, the apothecary network. You do not sell your dried medicinal herbs to random people on the street. You walk into You show them your perfectly dried, organically grown, zero-chemical calendula and lemon balm in premium glass jars. Because you grew it locally and without toxic plastics, they will buy your entire inventory in bulk to make their own salves and tinctures. Funnel number 3, the premium market booth. When you do go to the local farmer's market, you do not compete with the guys selling cheap $2 cabbages. You are selling high-end health assets. You set up a clean, professional booth, you display your massive hardneck garlic bulbs like premium jewelry. You tell the customers the story of how it was grown in pure, zero-chemical soil. People do not buy garlic. They buy health, sovereignty, and flavor. When you package it correctly, they will gladly hand you $20 a pound. Become the bank. The industrial food system is designed to keep you dependent. They want you buying weak, perishable, chemically treated food week after week until you are entirely out of money. But when you execute the dollar per square foot matrix, you flip the entire system upside down. You stop leaking cash at the grocery store and you start extracting cash directly out of the dirt. You turn a liability, your empty backyard, into a high-functioning $2,000 biological manufacturing plant. You stop being a consumer. You become the bank. If you are ready to stop treating your survival garden like a hobby and start building a true financial engine, hit that subscribe button. I want you to go down to the comments right now and tell me exactly which cash crop you are planting first, the garlic, the microgreens, or the herbs. I read every single comment, and your answers help me build the exact blueprints you need next. I'm your favorite gardener. Stop buying your survival, start manufacturing your wealth, and I'll see you in the next one.